Every brand needs an identity. It allows people to have expectations about what a brand has to offer, a feeling of familiarity, comfort, and trust. We fear what we do not understand, we tend to stay in our comfort zone, and trust is the most important thing in a relationship. Our relationship with Bandai Namco has eroded. There is no sense of direction or identity for us to understand. My nostalgia for Bandai Namco games is the only thing I find comfort in. Most importantly, when I see Bandai Namco's logo attached to a project, my mind becomes clouded with doubt rather than beaming with optimism. Today, companies around the world are rushing to develop and acquire intellectual properties to capture the hearts, minds, and wallets of us all. Bandai Namco has been drowning in access to remarkable IP from Japanese publishing company Shueisha for years. Bandai doesn't own any of it though, and maybe that's why they don't see the incentive to create more ambitious games. But while the possibilities to adapt popular manga and anime IP into exciting video games have been endless, the results so often seem to end in a 3D arena fighter. Unless acquired by Shueisha themselves, I suspect Bandai's chance to make those possibilities a reality are coming to an end sooner rather than later. We have seen just a glimpse of this new future with prominent manga and anime IP Demon Slayer getting a 3D arena fighter series published by Sega worldwide, developed by CyberConnect 2, a Bandai Namco tried and true formula, but without their involvement. More concerningly for Bandai Namco, Shueisha Games, established on February 16, 2022, is a new company under Shueisha, publisher of Weekly Shonen Jump, the world's most popular manga. Shueisha Games has said they intend to develop and release games for consoles, PC, and smart devices. As of now, these games won't be internally developed, but rather finding smaller game developers and supporting them to release. I think, given enough time and experience in the games industry, Shueisha Games will evolve into licensing its IP directly to larger developers who are the best fit for a given IP. It's a strategy we've seen before, and I think it's the best one for IP holders with the goods. To see that strategy in action, look no further than Marvel Games. With their latest release of Marvel Rivals, a marriage of the Marvel IP with the competitive multiplayer expertise of NetEase. Marvel Games was established on March 11, 2009. While there were no doubt amazing games before Marvel Spider-Man's release in 2018, I can't deny the shift that game brought to the perception of Marvel Games' new strategy.
How did this come together, guys? Well, Jeff, let me tell you, the secret superpower of Marvel Games is our constant focus on bringing together world-class talent with the fan-favorite characters that they love.
From 2009 to 2018, 9 years. How long until Shueisha has their Insomniac Spider-Man moment? I'm looking forward to seeing what comes, but I have a feeling Bandai Namco isn't. I consider Bandai Namco one of the last of a dying breed. Publishers having exclusive rights to IPs they don't own. It's a strategy of a bygone era. Think back to before Insomniac Spider-Man. Activision, the exclusive provider of Spider-Man games and most Marvel games. Listen, nostalgia is a hell of a drug, I know, but I can't help but feel most of those games I played as a kid were actually special. My first console game was Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro for the PlayStation 1, and my first favorite game was Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I don't need to tell you why these games were special, and you probably have your own favorites from that same era. I will say though that for every great game we probably got 3 not so great ones released too. Good thing though, I didn't play a lot of those not so great games. I mean, I played Spider-Man Friend or Foe and that was not so great. That's what makes talking about these kind of publishers so hard. They have given us some of our favorite games. And if they didn't pump out as many as they did, we wouldn't have gotten them. That's from our perspective, the player. What about the perspective of the IP holder, Marvel? Remember, every brand needs an identity. People need to know what to expect and to be able to trust you. it's in Marvel's best interest to control the amount of games coming out and ensure that when a kid plays a new Spider-Man game, it's not friend or foe. So, Marvel Games was born and then died, actually, after the Disney acquisition, and then was born again. Very comic book. This time, when they came back hard with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Oh, okay. Let's try that again. This time, when they came back hard with Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, but as the saying goes, third time's the charm. This time, when they came back hard with Marvel's Spider-Man, made by Insomniac Games, coming straight off of Sunset Overdrive, which feels like a natural progression. This was the first Spider-Man game to be given the proper time to cook, not rushed out the oven to be tied to the release of a film, and it showed. The game was phenomenal and received both critical praise and commercial success, becoming the best-selling PS4 game of all time and started a franchise that is now 3 games deep. Suffice to say, any kid opening Marvel Spider-Man is now a true believer in the Marvel Games brand. Lucky bastard. Like I said, making video games is hard, so it hasn't been all sunshine and roses for Marvel Games, and sometimes publishers and developers make it hard for themselves, creating something that doesn't deliver on the dreams fans have for a certain IP. But instead of talking about something that missed the mark, I want to quickly talk about 2 games that hit it dead on, but just couldn't find a large enough audience. Marvel's Midnight Suns is, in my opinion, the spiritual successor to my first favorite game, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. It's a totally different genre with its turn-based tactical gameplay made by Firaxis of XCOM fame, but the essence of what made Ultimate Alliance so cool is there. The team here is made up of Avengers, X-Men, Runaways, and of course the titular Midnight Suns. It hurts my heart that there was no Fantastic Four member, but regardless, this mix-up of teams, the coziness of an ever-changing base, character interactions, costumes, and feeling like I'm discovering new corners of the Marvel Universe I was unaware of, all gave me the feeling of being home again. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy surprised and delighted. The marketing for this game leading up to release completely deterred me, and I'm sure many others from picking it up. But after positive reception from those who had actually played it, I gave it a chance. Eidos Montreal, known for Deus Ex, made what I think is easily the best superhero story told in this medium. I fell so deeply in love with those Guardians, and I struggle to go back to James Gunn's interpretations. They might be my favorite JRPG party. The attention to detail in this game feels like every square inch was considered. The amount of phenomenal dialogue is staggering, and the beauty of Marvel's cosmic side is put on full display. While Midnight Suns may be for a specific audience, I can't see why this game wouldn't appeal to just about anyone. Marvel Games is teaming up with developers that can bring their signature touch to the Marvel Universe. Insomniac with movement, Firaxis with tactics, Eidos with narrative. Even though they may not be financial successes, the Marvel Games stamp, for those who played them, still holds meaning. That too is valuable. That brings us to today, where Marvel Games has 2 very successful projects going strong. From Studio Second Dinner, with some of the talent behind Hearthstone, comes Marvel Snap, the second Marvel card game released in 2022 that actually took off. And from NetEase Games, maker of numerous multiplayer titles among other genres, comes Marvel Rivals, a hero shooter released in late 2024 that shows no sign of slowing down throughout 2025. In a rare occurrence that has business executives and players alike frothing out the mouth, Marvel Rivals is an unmitigated success in a space so known for failures. A hero shooter that utilizes the world's most popular heroes. Yeah, that sounds like it'd work. A slam dunk even. Then why did Marvel Rivals work when Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League failed so miserably earlier that same year? It's actually quite simple. They didn't hand Spider-Man a gun. While Disney and Marvel are finding great success licensing out their IP to developers around the world, Warner and DC are failing miserably trying to do it all themselves. Suicide Squad was one of the biggest failures in video game history, a $200 million loss, only saved from being the biggest failure by Concord's release later that same year. Yet another hero shooter. Warner, DC, and Rocksteady actually made strides for superhero video games with the release of the Arkham trilogy. But much like their film division, what follows The Dark Knight is the assembly of Earth's mightiest heroes. As art imitates art, I suspect Warner will follow in Disney's footsteps, shutter many of their studios not producing hits, and license out their IP to developers globally. At least Warner owns the goods, so to speak, the IP. Publishers like Bandai Namco are in a much scarier position. That's not to say Bandai doesn't have some great IP, but there's a reason it's Marvel versus Capcom, Donald Duck talking to Aerith, and Mario against Sonic at the Olympic Games. Bandai Namco and their IP just aren't them dudes. They don't have the goods. Tales isn't a premier JRPG franchise today, and while Tekken is better than ever, Soul Calibur is nowhere to be found. Thank God they have their hands in From Software's pockets, and I always forget they own Pac-Man. So while Bandai Namco has some soul searching to do, I'm beaming with optimism for Shueisha Games' future. They will no doubt stumble along the way, but I'm hopeful that we can all start dreaming a little larger than what a 3D arena could fill. Please, like, share, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what dream developer and IP combination you have. Thanks for watching and or listening.